I think the issue will be that voter perceptions will not be shaped a lot by her absence. I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot of people running for the position who have a lot of experience, who you've heard of before, or they've had a lot of experience in Houston. So I think the voters will just simply move forward and say, okay, Ms. Hidalgo is no longer going to be running. So let me look at the new candidates and see which one that I think is the most qualified. I think if she were to run again, that would be the same thing that would happen. The Democratic primary would be uh, uh, up for grabs, and I personally do not think she would have the best chance to win that nomination. So I think that's the main reason why she got out of it is because it wasn't in the cards for her to continue in the position that she was in. And so the Democrats have a better chance of winning without her in the race. I think a different nominee will have a better chance because the in-part party fighting with her made it where there was probably going to be a significant number of Democrats who were not going to vote for her regardless. So I think that Democrats actually have a better chance. Now, as far as GOP strategy will not be able to just directly attack her anymore, the person sitting in the seat. They're going to have to find out who the nominee is, and then their strategy will change according to who that nominee is. So, and in my opinion, I think somebody like Anise Parker, the strategy will then be to try to look into what she was doing as mayor to see if she gets the nomination, to see what they can attack on that level. But I think it will be more difficult for the Republicans if somebody like Anise Parker gets the nomination because of her experience and because she's proven to be able to be a competent administrator. And that's something that Ms. Hidalgo did not have and did not have experience in. So those things, those outside of politics issues, like can this person run the county? Can this person be competent in what they're doing? Can this person take care of the issues like crime and so forth? Those are going to be more difficult for the Republicans to attack with somebody who has experience and success on the ballot. Okay, so the party overall, Commissioners Court, they've with the redistricting, they have the Democrats have an advantage going forward. The Republicans had an advantage for a long time in the county, and now the Democrats have an advantage. They've gerrymandered the districts so that you have one Republican district where we've packed all, or not all, but most of the Republicans into one single precinct in precinct three, and the rest of them are Democratic majority. But that does also mean that those districts are a little bit diluted when it comes to Democrats. You have some Republicans who foresee that they have a chance to be competitive in some of those districts. So if that's the case, then the Republicans are going to go hard in those districts. So, precinct two and precinct four, they see those as opportunity precincts. And so you're going to see candidates run hard races in those. As far as countywide, what it will probably depend on more than anything is voter turnout. If the Democrats turn out strong, they tend to win most of the seats. While Republicans turned out strong in the last election, and they did better than even their own projections. Uh, there was a survey that was done that basically showed the Democrats are going to win all the seats. So what's the use of going to the polls? Was the attitude, and as soon as that happened, the Republicans come in. They won some judicial seats. They were very viable. So it's going to be important for the Democrats if they want to continue to have that majority to have the turnout, to have the excitement about having Democrats in county office. And the best way to do that is for the Democrats who are in county office to perform well in their office. So that's the big thing. I think the Democrats lost a lot of votes because of the performance in office before. So now it's going to be important for them to perform well while they're in office, because if they don't, Republicans will come out in droves and some Democrats will cross the line and vote for Republicans instead. Well, I think the Republicans hope that it's complicated, and it may be the case. The thing that about Harris County is there was assumption by many that once it turned purple, it would get more and more blue as time goes by. The Hispanic voters inside of Harris County have changed that because many of them have moved to the Republican Party. At least they did in the last election. Now, the big question will be, will they stay? Will they stay Republicans? Will they entrench themselves? Or will they be a group of voters who will go with the party that they think at the time is the one that's performing best for them? So it's going to be important for the Republicans to make sure they take care of Hispanic voters and make sure that those voters that have crossed over and voted Republican in the last couple of elections remain Republicans. And to do that, they're not just going to be able to just campaign. They're going to have to put Hispanics in leadership positions. They're going to have to make them a viable part of the party. They're going to have to listen to their policy positions. And if the Republicans are able to do that, I think they have a chance to keep Harris County purple and move it more towards the red. If they don't do that, then those Hispanic voters will go back to the Democratic Party and Harris County will be solid blue. So that's the big question. So that's what's up in the air. And so the big thing to look at will be those Hispanic voters, those voters who are fairly young, younger than the rest of the voters in the population. They have shown a voting history where they're willing to change parties. What's going to happen with them? Because that is really the swing group now. That's the group that's going to decide elections. So that's what what's going to be interesting about going forward in Harris County. But anyway, when Ed Emmett was in there, he was a very popular county judge. He was very popular when he lost, but he lost because of a straight ticket vote, where a lot of Democrats went in and voted straight ticket, forgot about county judge, and did not go down and flip the button for Ed Emmett. They just went ahead and voted Democrat, and Lina Hidalgo took advantage of that. I think if the Democrats at the time would have been more cognizant of the possibility that they were going to sweep Harris County, I think they would have got a different nominee for county judge than Lina Hidalgo. They would have got somebody more experienced. But that didn't happen. So when it didn't happen and Lina Hidalgo won, she's been somewhat entrenched in there as an incumbent, and that's a big advantage, being an incumbent. So, but there's also means that seat has been very competitive. I mean, she barely won her election last time, and when she won, she barely won against Ed Emmett in the last election, and that election there. And it was a big shock. And there was a lot of people who said, well, Ed Emmett was our judge. We liked him. He was very moderate, very good administrator, took us through many hurricanes and so forth. Once that happened, it was very competitive. And that meant there's going to be a lot of attention to the seat. Before that, the election just wasn't that competitive. It was Republican dominated for many years. We had, even before Ed Emmett, we had Republicans in the county judge seat, and we had a majority Republicans on Commissioner's Court. Particularly Precinct 3 and Precinct 4 were solid Republican precincts. So you're going to have a Republican majority, and everybody just pretty much knew it. So that the excitement over who was going to win wasn't nearly as big as it is now, because now things are competitive. And the Republicans have been, in the last election in 2024, the Republicans did very well. They come out and voted strongly in elections. They won judicial seats that no one thought they could win. So that makes it where they feel like they have a chance to go ahead and win the county. I personally think the odds are really, really against them. One, because Donald Trump is in office, and because the Republican incumbent president is in office. In almost every case, Democrats have an advantage when a Republican incumbent is going to be in office. So in 2026, it's going to be very difficult for the Republicans to make gains because of what's happened historically. So the excitement is there because it's competitive. As long as it stays competitive, the excitement will stay there. But, and we'll only be able to know in the near future whether that stays the case. And as I said before, the Hispanic vote is the one that's going to decide that.
I think she will have served 8 years. I mean, she serves through the end of 2026. So we should keep that in mind. But the election to replace her will be in November of 26. So I think her decision to not seek reelection opens up new opportunities for leadership.
For both parties, would you say?
Of course, yeah, I think Harris County will be very competitive in 2026. It was competitive in her last reelection. She won by less than 3,000 votes, I believe. I honestly believe that the 26 elections are going to be more focused on national politics than local politics. I would love to tell you that the county judge's race was a driver of voter turnout, but it really is not. And we have an open US Senate race in Texas, and that will be not open, actually. You have John Cornyn seeking reelection. Let me correct myself on that. But you have a contested US Senate race, and that will draw more attention from the voters than a county judge race. And then you have, new congressional districts taking effect in 26. So there'll be a lot of national debate on issues that'll be more likely to turn out voters than the local races. I would love to tell you, as frankly, you will see this November when we have a congressional seat and an open city council seat. I don't think voter turnout will be higher than 10%. So even with a congressional race at stake, it's going to be a struggle for those candidates to get voters out to cast ballots. Well, I mean, Mayor Whitmire was elected with 13% of voter turnout, so you have to realize that it's the national issues that drive voters to the poll more than anything. It should be the opposite. It should be the opposite because the government closest to you has more impact on your day-to-day life. But what people pay attention to is well, even if the county judge were Republican, they still would not have the majority because they'd have to win an additional commissioner seat. Um, but I do think the judge race is going to be highly competitive. I definitely do. So it definitely will change direction no matter which party wins it. Her leadership has been unique. She's a young progressive. She's brought more focus on social services at the county than we've ever had in the past. Um, and she did guide through COVID, which was a difficult situation, but she also made a lot of people mad with her extended shutdown and that sort of thing. So she wasn't considered a business friendly county judge. And I think any of the candidates running on either side of the aisle would likely be more business friendly and a little less social services oriented than we've seen with her. I don't think it's clear at all which party will win. I think in 2018, you had a Democratic sweep of all county offices. That continued in 20, and then in 22, we saw a little them tighten up quite a bit. Then in 24, it was razor thin margins for that the Democrats had on to the county and lost 9 judicial seats that are voted on countywide. So I anticipate that 26 will be an extremely razor thin close election. And it really depends on which candidates resonate with the voters, which issues resonate with the voters. As I said, national politics will have a huge impact. So it's a really, I would consider it not easily predictable at this point in time.
Yeah, thank you. Um, Seriously, it's very hard to tell, but it's so interesting just to follow along. Um,
Well, I'd say you give Dems slight advantage, but when you're looking at vote margins, there was a judicial race that was 300 votes apart. So that's beyond razor thin. That's virtually tied. So, that makes the county election for 26 unpredictable and current until we begin to see people spending money and we can conduct polls. And even then, it's going to be a matter of, is the country happy with Trump that week or mad at it? In my opinion, I really don't think I think the national politics will dominate the local courthouse, bottom line. I mean, the county judge, it's kind of a confusing name in Harris County. In smaller counties in Texas, the county judge is the judge. They're the administrator, the judge, they conduct weddings. I mean, all of those things. But in Harris County, our county judge is an administrator. They are the administrator of the county. And their job is leadership, and one of their most important roles is emergency management and planning. And so you do hope that the county judge will have at least a speaking relationship with the state government leaders so that they can work together in the event of emergencies. And we had a lot of clash with that in COVID because you had the state handling the crisis one way, you had the local governments viewing it a different way. So you can see how that works sometimes. Now, hurricanes and storms and freezes, that kind of thing, you tend to find everybody works together to solve the crisis. I honestly will tell you the county judges tend to serve a very long time. I think her predecessor at Emmett was county judge for, I don't even know how long, but it feels like 20 years. But he was county judge for a very long time. So these races only open up intermittently. And so when they do, they become very heated because of that. One, we seem to have increased media coverage on the county government, which we've not had for a while. And I always call county government the hidden government. They have more money than the city, more power. Honestly, cities can make ordinances. That's what makes them critical. The county cannot make ordinances, but the county governs what includes the city, right? I mean, a county commissioner in another state, Delaware has 8,000 people. A county commissioner represents 1 million people each, right? So I think historically, though, they operated quietly. When County Judge Hidalgo came in, the meetings became much more public, and she started discussing things. Prior to that, it used to be the county judges and the commissioners would resolve their issues, come to court would last an hour, boom, they'd be done. And there wouldn't be a lot of public discussion. She did really raise the envelope, but she also created 12 and 14-hour commissioners court meetings, which bothered a lot of people. So, especially if you were waiting to speak. So, she brought transparency to it and higher exposure. Then people started paying attention. Then there's been much more focus on even things like taxes and tax increases in the budget. I've seen more focus on that this year than I've seen in probably 30 years of watching Commissioners Court.